Hello, everyone. Welcome to the DNA Authority, where power and passion come to play. I am Dolly Cortes.
And I am Anita Myers. Hi, Dolly, and hi, everyone. It is Wonder Woman Wednesday. We've got a great treat for you today. We've got a great guest that you'll be meeting in just a moment. Today, we're going to be talking about the power of the microphone.
So stay tuned. Welcome. Welcome. How are you, my dearest Anita?
I'm doing fine. How are you? How is everybody?
I'm doing fantastic, and I must tell you that I absolutely love your hair.
Thank you very much. I worked very, very hard.
I
home. And you have to do work from home. You don't get, I try to create the salon look. Listen, it's one of those things where you do the best you can. And I'm really glad that you like it, but I miss having your son available to do it's so much better when it would go all around your head. For me, I'm like making
I absolutely get that, and my son has tried to teach me to do my hair many times, and I still don't get it, and he was not available this morning for me.
Yeah,
he had an appointment. So.
Yeah, well, I hope you had a good week. What was your week like?
It's been a busy week. I've just been working on authors, manuscripts, and just trying to get some work done and ready to probably publish 2 to 3 more authors by the end of the year.
I got to ask you,
yes,
young lady, how do you do it? How do you go through, like when I read one book that has, drama, that has adventure, that has heartache, that has all these different emotional elements that pull you in different directions. How do you do it where you go from one story to another story? How do you get when you smell, like when you go to the mall back in the day, when you can go to the mall and you have different perfumes, you need some, like, what is it called? Like a buffer. You need something else to kind of get the neutralizer, right? Like, do you do anything to neutralize your emotions to get you ready for the next story?
It's called wine.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Well, it's really, you obviously know very well what I do, being one of my authors with the company Rose Gold Publishing. But I really just focus on that author, and I do have a tendency of having to deal with multiple authors, sometimes even on the same day. So I go from one meeting to another, and I just have to, put my hat on specific to their story and to their situation and to the point in the story that they're at, so that I can assist them. So it's been it's an interesting process. Let me put it that way. And how are you? How's your week going?
My week is going good. I'm getting, I've had to make some changes in my life, when it comes down to how I operate. I'm learning so much, as you know, that I started homeschooling with my kiddo, and it's a new adventure for me. And anything that's new, I want to put 150%, if there's such a thing. I want to put as much as more than I normally do into that, so that I do a really good job with my position in it. And so that changed my whole schedule. And, the adjustment is there with everything. Any changes that you make in life, you have this withdrawal of the usual routine that you do on a daily basis. I had those moments where I'm like, I'm supposed to look at my phone. I'm supposed to post. I'm supposed to, and it was actually really good.
Yeah.
It was, I've heard this many times where, some people feel like they want to get away from social media for a while. All of us have gone through that. You just need a social media break because the information is just so much all the time. It doesn't matter what the topic is, but if it is negative information, it's frustrating. Even if you're just hearing your friends going through all sorts of different things, it's a lot of information, and sometimes your body can't handle it. Secondly, you're reading through screen time. You're going from your cell phone to another device, to your television. We all want to just shut down. That's why I went away for I went away for a little bit to really unplug myself. And you'd think that was enough, but I got to tell you, it's really nice to do that at home. You can unplug at home. I mean, not that I want to advertise that, because I want everyone to watch the show today. In fact, if you're watching, please say hello. Tell us how you can see us and share the show. But yeah, that's how I've been feeling. Like I'm just in an adjustment period. I'm so super excited, and all of those things cause my energy to go really, really super high. And I think by the time around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock comes around, my eyes are at like half mast. I'm like done.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. Well, today we're definitely going to have a great show. So right before we bring her in, let's take a quick break, and then we'll bring our wonderful and amazing guest in, which I am so excited that she is here for us. Just one moment. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. So I am excited, very excited to bring our guest up from the elevator, but to our wonderful and amazing show, because Mirela Sula, she is a global leader. And I'm going to introduce you. I'm going to bring her in. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, because this is a woman you definitely need to meet. One moment, and she would be joining us. And here she is.
Good evening from London.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just
Wait a minute. She said good evening from where?
London.
Oh, London, of course. That's so exciting. What time is it over there?
9 p.m. here.
Oh my God. She's talking to us at 9 p.m. from London. Do you know? This is not to make fun of anybody. This is not to make fun of anybody. Okay. Just to make sure I say this. I love the English accent so much that this is how I speak with my daughter when I teach her things, when I've read storybooks and fairy tales to her. Whenever we decide to talk about education of any kind, it's always with my glasses and with an English accent. How long are you there? Just for a little while? Or
look, I'm sorry, I'm going to disappoint you for the English accent. I've been living in London for 9 years now, but it's really hard to get that accent. So
I obviously don't have that accent. I just pretend to have one, of course. But you've been there for 9 years and you haven't picked up any of that.
My son, of course, he did. You can't recognize him, but for me, has been a little bit more difficult. It's when you come to a certain age, it becomes harder to pick the accent. But yes, of course, I'm getting slowly there.
Oh, wow. Well, it's so wonderful to know that you're here. You're coming to us live from London. I think that's pretty great.
Yeah, I love her accent that she has now, because to be honest with you, it's like when I first heard you speak, Mirela, and I want to share a little bit about who you are and what you do. But when I first heard you speak, you always say, hello, darlings. Hello, darlings. And at first I was like, she's calling my name. Hello, Dolly. So I love that. But everyone, listen, this amazing and global leader, Mirela Sula, she has worked in media and education for 20 years. She has just over 236,000 followers on Instagram. She has a background in psychology, in counseling, in journalism, in teaching, in coaching, in women's rights and media training. I love that. You are the CEO and founder of the Global Woman Magazine, the Global Woman Club that currently has extended to 26 different cities around the world. You have appeared in multiple media channels, and you're also, and this was a shock to me, you're also currently pursuing a PhD.
Yes.
You're unstoppable. I just love that about you. Of course, you're an author because, Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less. And you have also created a show called Migrant Woman Talks. So welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. Mirela, I am so excited to have you here specifically because your power is the power of the microphone. How did that start?
Yes, this is where everything started, to be honest, because at the beginning, I found it really hard to bring people or women on stage. And some of them, they're trying to hide. You know, we as women, sometimes we want to hide. We are scared of visibility. We are scared of getting that spotlight, which in fact we deserve. But this is what I realized. A lot of amazing women that I was interviewing for the magazine, they were giving me a great interview for the magazine. But when I invited them to join the club, to join the meetings, and said, "Hey, you're going to talk," I said, "Oh, no, I'm not here to talk." So this is what happened. At the beginning, I really struggled to give women a microphone. I said, no, I'm not a speaker. I've never been speaking before. I don't think I can do this. So we tried to bring them slowly on the stage. And then the very first time where I came with this idea was when I invited a doctor. Now her story is quite famous because we share her. And she didn't want to come. She didn't want to come and speak. And she just, when she saw that this is the rule, everybody in the room has to say something, she was trying to leave. And I go after her and say, "Dr. Seema, where are you going?" She said, "Oh, no. This is not for me. I'm not a good speaker." I said, "How do you know that? Have you been speaking before?" I said, "Never in my life." I said, "But why you don't just have a try?" I said, "Oh, no." She was like, really, no. And then I go in the other side of the office, trying to just chat with her and convince her to say, "Just come and say hi," because it's not nice you go without coming and say hi. I say, tell women that you're leaving. So she comes in and say, "Ladies, Dr. Seema never have spoken on stage before, and I think she needs some kind of encouragement. Should we just welcome her to say just a few words and then we can let her go?" So she comes and said, "Yes, Seema, go Seema." Everybody was just encouraging her. "Yes, Dr. Seema, you can do this, you can do this." So she comes on stage. Was like, our meetings, up to 40, 50 women that we used to come together every month. We miss that part now. So she comes on stage, we give her the microphone and said, "Don't worry, Dr. Seema, you just a couple of seconds, like just say hi, who you are, and then you can go. Don't worry." And then she comes up like 30 seconds and 1 minute and 5 minutes and 6 minutes and 7 minutes. And I'm doing this. "Seema, please, your time is out," because everyone was supposed to speak only 2 minutes. And this is where I came up with this idea, because what happened 1 or 2 months later, Dr. Seema, she came back and said, "Oh my God, Mirela, what have you done to my life?" I said, "What? Where have you been?" She said, "You know what?" Her friend, of course, recorded her. This is what we do. We have nothing to hide at the club. And her video went viral all over social media. And that the very first time that she came to join the meeting, also she managed to win the raffle, because we used to do raffle. And she managed to be featured in the Global Woman magazine, because that was part of the raffle. So within a very short time, Seema went into the magazine. She managed to come and speak and tell everybody who she is. Her video went everywhere. And 2 months later, she comes and tells me that because of that, now she's booked as a speaker in Argentina and Dubai to speak in front of 200 plus people. Everything was sponsored. Everything was covered. And she said, "Oh my God, my life is upside down. Now my husband loves me more. My children adore me more. And I feel like I've gained the respect of my family. And now I want to speak more." I said, "Okay, Seema, I'm going to give you the microphone, but make sure you give the microphone back, okay?" So that is the very first time I said, okay, at the beginning, women struggle to take that microphone, but then they don't want to give it back because they realize that there is the power. And this is where I came up. I changed the whole thing in the websites and in the whole marketing message, because it felt so authentic. It felt so amazing and beautiful, because I said, you know what? This is where everything can start. If you want to empower a woman, give her a microphone. Because I realized when women come at the beginning at the Global Women Club, they're shy. They may have developed great career, and they have probably invested a lot in their education and qualifications. But still, when it comes to put themselves into that spotlight, they, as I said, they're a bit scared. So at the beginning, they come like very shy, and they say hi. They don't know what to say. They just simply share a story. But what I noticed is like 3-4 months later, I can see the same woman. She's standing in her power. She's positioning herself like with high confidence, and she's speaking with conviction in front of a huge audience, the same person. And also she's claiming that she's a trainer in public speaking. What? So
I'm enjoying what you're saying to us about this, because it's making me think of the number of times in the different groups that I've been in. I know Dolly's been in some business groups with me. Whenever we're out, there's this feeling, and I'm sure that many go through this, and you've seen this happen when we talk about being shy. Number one, it's just that unknown of how everybody will perceive you, that nervousness that people are going to look at what you say and think that it's something negative about it. And it's really funny, because I know that I understand this feeling that what she had, where when you're asked to go and start talking, especially here we are, I've talked about this story before, where I was in a group here on the social media, and there was a challenge that was given to us for a week where we needed to go and look at this little pinhole thing right here, camera, and start talking to that. And, I had always thought, believe it or not, I had always thought that when you're going to do anything on camera, you need training. Like, you need to go to school for it. I grew up with anything that you ever want to be good at, you should go to school for it. So to just go do a live stream, I just thought was absolutely preposterous. Like, I can't do that. And so I learned, times have changed, and people have a lot of information to share. And there's a lot of people on the other side of the screen that need this information. So in doing this challenge, the very first time I remember, thanks to Vanessa Cabrera, again, I always want to give a shout out to her. She put me on a challenge, put many of us on a challenge. And it was about looking at that camera and just sharing your heart. In the beginning, it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but once you open up, suddenly you realize, wait a minute, no one's making me feel bad. They're all listening. I've got something to say. So I understand the feeling that you gave to her. And I wonder, with everything that you've seen, there are people that really have stage fright. Is there any tip that you have given to them, regardless of that moment to open up? It's that moment before, that feeling of leaving. Is there a tip that you can give to them if they don't want to say anything out loud, but then on the inside, they're just scared to death to do it?
Well, I have seen a lot. I've seen also women shaking and crying. They don't want to do it. And then they really go for it once they break that ice and that fear. And it's normal, because public speaking, as they say, is the second fear after death. So I understand that. When it comes to the tips, it's not easy to give tips because everybody is different. But what I would say is, make sure you open up in a safe environment, because also we have to accept that not always you'll be lucky to speak in front of people who are welcoming you, who are okay with your imperfectionism, who can accept you as you are, who can understand that you're not going to be great, you just start. And because sometimes if you don't find that kind of environment and you face these little voices behind your back and you feel embarrassed, probably it can impact you for long. And probably, even though you may have talents and great gifts inside you, which the world needs, it's going to stop you, because we are human beings and we are impacted what other people think about us. We are influenced by other people. If it was for me personally, I have faced that myself when I came to this country. I thought I know English, but I was hardly understanding this British accent. And I remember when I went on stage for the very first time, I faced really a very big embarrassment, because one so-called a good friend of mine went to one of my colleagues. He didn't know that he is one of my closest people in my team, and said things that I am not supposed to go on stage if I'm not able to do that. How can she do the way she does? So sometimes people think that stage belongs to only those who are very well trained, or very, qualified, who are celebrities. And I wanted to break that. I wanted to give the microphone to these women who have a simple story, a real story. For me, these are the celebrities. And I knew
Sorry. I was going to say, I absolutely love that. I know exactly what you mean, because when I get a microphone on my hand, I don't want to give it back. I'm definitely.
That's her hope.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I am definitely on my element. I feel like, I mean, I'll go crazy. I'll start singing, not only talking and giving whatever presentation I need to do, but I get the music going, and I really, my personal thing is energizing the room. I love to energize the room.
You haven't spoken before, and you're trying to have to test yourself, and you're trying to do whatever it takes, and then you face people criticizing you. How would you feel? So that's why it's important that for those who have managed to come to that stage, give the opportunity to other people to grow and to come to that level, that they are not scared to just open up and be and allow themselves and give themselves the permission to not be great, because in order to be great, they have to start somewhere. Yeah. So that's why it's I always encourage women to support each other when they see another woman who is not yet in that level that they have achieved. Probably it's better to see in a way that let's go and give her a hand. Let's go and support her. That's why at the Global Women Club we have created like a map, and in that map we are all in the journey. And some people are, for example, some women, they have just waken up. They have just realized that their life is not the same anymore as it used to be. They have a wake-up call. They have a breakout through. And they feel that they are in a transition. They come and join, for example, a community, and they expect people to understand them. And if it is the opposite, probably they are going to feel like, oh, probably it's not right what I'm doing. So some women, probably they are to a different level where they feel like, great, I'm exploring much more now. I'm learning much more. I have become an expert on what I'm doing. I can also help and influence and impact other people. I can contribute to other people's lives. So everybody has a great role, a great place in a community where somebody learns and somebody teaches. So when it comes to the microphone, everybody learns.
I've got a question for you. I'm so curious because your club is the Global Woman Business Club, and that means you are obviously working with women all around the world. And obviously now with the internet, the way it is, how fast technology works, what are some of the similarities and differences that you've noticed with business owners that are female all across the globe?
Yeah, the interesting thing is that more and more women have realized that they can be great in business, because we come from a culture that business belonged to men only. And it was something that we never thought about it. Even our finances, we used to leave it to, it's not, we're not.
Well, the roles, because of the cultures, roles are so different in certain places and have still stayed that way in some locations. And roles are much shifted now, where women can do these things and they can learn
from each other.
Right.
Yeah, we are learning from each other, and this is what we discover. We discover things that we didn't know that we can do. I could never imagine that I could survive into this big world, and especially doing business myself. As I said, I came to this country only 8-9 years ago, and I came with a student visa. I was very limited. I never have had the clue what business mean. It's not that I'm coming from a business background, from my family background, or I never studied business. I never knew how business works, especially in a big world like England. But once you know your why, once you know what is something that you can provide to the world, and once you know your audience, once you know what is their problem, what is their pain, what is their challenge, and how that resonates with yours. Do you share the same problems? Do you share the same challenges? Do you share the same values as well? But also, do you share the same dreams? Because some people, they may share the same challenges, but they completely want different things in life. So for me, this is where everything started. Trying to connect with like-minded women and realize what do they want? Do they want what exactly I want, or do they want something else, or at what level of their journey they are, at that stage of their journey they are? Can we contribute in each other's journey? But to answer your question, women have proved that they are really great in business. Now, I work a lot with men as well, and when I start talking with them in terms of collaboration, you know what they tell me? Oh, I love working with women. I said, of course you do. And then I say, why? Because women are really good in business. They are, you can rely on them. They are very authentic. They are accountable. And if they start something, they make sure they're going to complete it. They are determined. They have strong resilience. So we have a lot of great qualities. All of these, of course, come because we have the ability to be multitasking. And of course, we use our emotional intelligence. We use our feminine energy, all these factors that, in fact, are invisible. But I believe that the biggest power comes from these invisible forces that are inside us. It's not just...
I love it. I think you should say that again. I think that is beautiful. You should say it again. I'll repeat in the sense of what you're saying.
Well,
this is all coming from the invisible forces that we actually have within us. And when I'm hearing what you're saying, even though I personally have an absolute love for the male species as well as the gender, as much as I do for the female, but there are strengths of both, and there are, weaknesses of both. And one of the things I can see, obviously, when it comes to females is, we are community-based. We are leadership. We are leaders just by our design when we are people that are to, become mothers, and we look at community, we look at making sure we take care of the family unit, and men have their role as well. But what's really nice about what you're saying is that there is a common ground that women across the world that you're seeing can finally see with each other. And I think the idea of knowing that you can share, it changes the whole landscape from feeling like intimidated and insecure to feeling very confident and very direct on, what, there is a purpose for me here, and I want to be able to teach. And I think that that's a beautiful thing to be able to bring all these women together, to give them that sense of confidence that they may not have gotten somewhere else.
And if I can add to that, Mirela, one of the things that you said is that you went to this country, you were a student, you didn't know much about business, but here you are, you just truly created a global empire. How did you do that, and why did you do it?
Well, it hasn't been easy, of course, but things are difficult until they become easy. So this is something that has been with me for a long time. I always wanted to create something big. I knew probably it's going to take long, but I knew it was not an illusion. I knew it was possible. I knew I had that wake-up call where I needed to find the right land where to seed it, because for me always was important to find the seat where I can stand, because for me it's like you can stand where you sit. If you sit in in a little broken chair, then you can't stand to speak in front of the big audience that you want to. So I started to do some research, explore, where do I need to go? What do I need to do? So are the very simple, basic questions that everybody can raise. Once they feel that inside they have a little voice that is giving them hope that they are there for something bigger. And it hasn't been easier because, of course, coming from a very small country, I came as a stranger, as a single mother with my teenager boy, with very little savings. And I just didn't want to give up before I try. And for me, it's like once you start trying, that's no way back again. Because once you start something, you have to find a way to complete it. And this is how you create the habit of success. Otherwise, if you start something and you stop in the middle of the road, you're doing nothing, just creating the habit of failure. You're just telling your subconscious mind or yourself or your little self that no, that's not going to work. But the whole point, the whole journey is to reach the hand of your higher self, to reach the mind of your higher self, and to be awake and to be aware and to be alert that when that signal comes to you, the receiver has to be in tune with the transmitter. Otherwise, it's not going to happen all the time as we sit there and we're sleeping and we just blame other people and we blame the world, we blame everything. We just think that, oh, it's not there. But the thing is, it's not because it's not there. It's because we are not able to see it. It's because we are not able to get in tune with it. It's because we are not able to tap into it. It's because we are not able to activate it and to welcome it and to possess it and to claim it and to master it and to own it and to take ownership of what is ours. Right. And if it is yours, it's going to be yours.
You know, I'd like to reiterate something you said that I'm going to take home with me today, even though you've shared so many good things, beautiful things, that you said the whole point of life is to reach the hand of your higher self. I just want to take a moment. I know, when we share with all our heart, we share all this great information, and you had a lot of great information, but I think that one just almost made me kind of like it made me just do one of these in my spirit. Like, that's so beautiful, is that the whole point, and that's how I'm looking at it. I don't know if y'all think I'm crazy out there, and you can, it's okay. But to me, the whole point of life is to reach the hand of your higher self. How beautiful is that? And how powerful. So that makes me like, I totally understand that. That's almost, it almost reminds me of the Oscar winner, the Academy Award winner, Matthew McConaughey, when he was telling his speech. It's all about chasing your hero, right? But I like how you said it in the way you did. You spoke it in a way where it's so beautiful to be able to, to have that visual. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to pause us here for a second. Let's jump into a quick commercial. We'll be right back.
Go for it.
Everyone, we are here today with a global leader, Mirela Sula, which I am very excited that you have joined us today. Mirela, one of the things that you have are constantly talking about is connecting with your purpose, impacting the world. Of course, talk about the power of the microphone, which is what we're talking about today. And, there are a lot of people out there that just have self-doubt, and they have a tendency of self-sabotaging themselves. They start questioning, are they good enough? What do you have to say to them?
That's human. And that is a question that everybody has been going through, and it happens to everybody. But our job is how to deal with it. The question here is like, not how to avoid or how to eliminate, because you need to put some work before. Of course, we can come if we do our homework, we can come to a place where we can eliminate all these little voices, self-sabotage behaviors. But in order for us to go there, we need to start understanding who I am. And nobody is going to teach you or to tell you or to show you who you are, because if we allow other people to define who we are, I don't think we are going to be the best version of ourselves. That's why this is a job that nobody can do it for you. We have to take responsibility to discover ourselves and not allow other people to define us. That's why.
How do you do that? How do you do that for a person that is really new at this? What advice can you give them to, like, okay, sit back and start reflecting who you are, where you are, what do you want out of life?
Well, first of all, once you come to this question, that's a good start, because not everybody asks this question to themselves, who I am. I mean, there are people who never bother to they are. So what I have realized is that there are a lot of people who really ask the question, how do I get things? How do I have money? How do I have a house? Or how do I have wealth? Or how? So people crying to have, and that's normal. But in order for us to have, we need to first ask the question, who I am. And once we start at least the journey to discover, because it's a self-discovery, long journey, it never ends, but at least we have entered that journey, then what we realize is, as the more we get to know ourselves, the more we grow our belief and our confidence to start taking some actions. And then it's like a mirror effect. It's like you take some actions and then you tell yourself that you are not that bad, you can do this. But until you start taking that step and proving yourself that you can do this, you are more than you think you can be, then as we start doing things on the way, we start also being rewarded. And rewarded, for example, once we commit on doing some things, once we get out of the comfort zone, once we get out of the box, once we get out of ourselves and we go beyond and we start exploring, then we start feeling that we are rewarded for the behavior and the actions that we have been taking. So these rewardings, then it gives us even more courage to start exploring even deeper inside us. And it starts teaching us that even if you probably are going to face some challenges or some adversities, you understand that this is part of the growth. As otherwise we say, no pain, no gain. So if you are not growing, you are not living. So that's why, and if you are not feeling that pain, that struggle, that because everything, the highest self can be reached only through feeling the pain and not avoiding it, but learning how to manage it, learning how to learn from it, how to get the best of it. So I know it's a long process, but the very, very first step has to start by allowing yourself to not be perfect, allowing yourself to do mistakes. Don't criticize yourself ever. If there is something that I would really say, especially to women, and by the way, don't take me wrong, I have nothing, I'm not a feminist. Men are always welcome to our events. So, but I have decided to work with women because for a long time, I have seen that women have a lot of confidence, even though they don't have that much competence. And with women is a little bit of opposite. Women have a lot of competence, but they have low confidence. We have these little voices in our mind all the time because it comes from the past, it comes from the history that other people have written for us, it comes from our culture, all kind of issues that humanity had to go through. But if there is something that I would beg everybody to start doing is stop criticizing yourself. Be good with yourself. be good parent with yourself. If sometimes, because I come from a psychological background, I hear a lot of stories of people coming, oh, my parent, my father, my stepfather, my mother. And of course, I understand and I empathize with that. But there is always a second chance for you to be the parent of yourself and to be kind and nice with yourself. Don't be as bad as other people have been for you. So you always have a second chance to do that with yourself.
Well,
Go ahead. Go ahead. I know we were both like chomping at the bit to talking to you, but okay, I'm gonna let you go first.
Well, see, first of all, Anita, you see why I just love this woman? Because every single time, Mirela, that I come from one of your meetings, your master classes, or whatever session you're having, I'm so inspired by hearing you and by your teachings that I always reach out to Anita. I'm like, wow, what a great meeting. What a great meeting. So thank you for everything that you're sharing. And I also have my own saying, which is stop being your worst critic and become your number one fan. And I think it's so important. And just like you, I'm constantly focusing on working with women for the same reason. I do also believe that we women, sometimes we get the shorter end of the stick. And it's time for us to really learn to elevate ourselves and to also stop competing with ourselves, but to help each other grow. So I just love it. Anita, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. I mean, this is important to get that information out. I had something to share with you, and I got so involved with what Dolly said. I don't know if I can remember what I was going to say. However, I can buy time right now and tell you that it has been really wonderful having you on. I know it was. When it comes down to everything that you've just mentioned, all the really good information you shared for women, and there's women out there right now watching this, or they might watch it a little bit later on, that don't know much about your global women's group. And I'm just wondering, what's a good action plan for them if they're interested, if they have a little peek into what it is you're doing? How can they reach out to you? What's a good action plan for them?
Well, Global Woman is everywhere. We just Google Global Woman. We are all over in social media. We have now created a huge online platform, which makes me feel so good that we managed to pivot everything online now. We have Global Woman Club, Global Woman Academy, Global Woman Lobby, which is an app for women to connect together. Of course, men are welcome. We have Global Woman Magazine and Global Woman Summit. So it has turned now into a movement, and it's all one password. All you need is just one one login details. You open the doors of the whole empire of Global Woman. You can go and read all the articles about Global Woman around the world, or you can get a lot of content in the Global Woman Library Academy. We do a lot of mastermind classes. We do book projects. We do TV shows, media trainings, everything. And we are very excited when we discover women like you, like Dolly, that join our community. It's an honor. Every time that I see a woman joining us, I am grateful. And I feel like, wow, thank you for joining us, because there are so many communities out there. But I feel that now that I have learned how important it is for me to get the message out there and bring more women together into this amazing community of women from all over the world, coming from all walks of life. It's a duty to make sure that we get the microphone ourselves and we pass the mic to another woman to give them the opportunity to grow their confidence, and also to see the opportunity to grow their business as well.
It's almost as if the microphone is in some way a bit of an award for their work, that they're for the voice that they have to share and the message that they have to give. So passing on that wonderful award to someone else it's a nice idea. And I'm really glad that you came on to the show to share as much as you did. And you certainly shared so much with us. And I do hope that those of you that are watching, anyone watching live right now, anyone that's watching later on as a recording, that you do reach out to her, and we will make sure that we can put contact information so you can enter the gates of the global woman world. Absolutely. I think that'll be really wonderful.
Well, I will say this, joining the Global Woman Club has been honestly an honor for me. When I first heard you, I'm part of the Brussels Club. which is awesome. So with Yadira, and Yadira has been watching us. I love it. So I'm part of the Brussels Club, and you know, I remember the first time you came on, and I am like, who is that wonderful lady? I had no idea who you were, but you just started speaking with such energy. And I was like, wow. And then Yadira said, and that was the founder of our group. And I'm like, no wonder. It just made perfect sense. But it was truly, truly an honor. And, you know, I'm excited. I'm planning, God willing, the pandemic will lift and you will be able to have the summit in March.
I can't wait. I really hope so, because that is our biggest reward.
Well, I hope so too.
Microphones with you. Bring your microphones with you and interview a bunch of amazing women. You will see, you will be blown away. And if there is something that I really resonate with you, you have that powerful microphone with you. Keep using it. Use the microphone to empower another woman.
Thank you. My intention, my personal intention, is to come out in March 20 in London. So that's my goal. That's my intention. And you know, let's see what borders open up all over the world. But Mirela, thank you so much for joining us today. It has truly been a pleasure and an honor having you. We know it's getting late over there in London, so we appreciate your time.
Thanks for staying up for us. We so appreciate it.
Oh, it has been a great pleasure, ladies and darlings. Another time we'll tell the story of the darlings, because this is how we call each other now. It has been a great pleasure to spend some amazing time with you. You're both very inspirational, and I know you have a great mission in this world. Please keep going.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I so appreciate that.
Bye-bye. Isn't she just amazing?
I just want to just step into the frame and be right there in London and just sit and talk to her and have a final cup of tea.
Yes.
And just keep talking to her, because I did really enjoy her information. You can tell the passion she has for women and knowing the struggles that they go through. I mean, we all naturally know that we all go through our struggles, but what she's doing is taking that struggle and turning it into success. And I think that that's so great, because you know, there's so many ways you can attain success, but having someone who is, you know, corralling those people with her arms and a big old hug to say, this is what you need to do, and crafting the way for them to go in the way that she's doing it. I mean, you spoke so well about her so much. I was very much looking forward to hearing what she had to say. And you could hear her intelligence. You could hear her grace and her respect, not just for herself, but for the women that are entered into that global women's group. So it was really nice to meet her.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And I will tell you this, I joined that network back in July, and I think it was the end of June, and it has been incredibly powerful. I feel that I have learned so much, and, you know, just being a part of it and being surrounded by so much positivity. It's beautiful, because I have never heard anyone complain. I have never heard anyone badmouth anyone else. They are just there for each other, to help each other grow, to give each other advice. And for me, it was like, I felt she was speaking my language. And when she mentioned the power of the microphone, I was like, oh, that's letting their voice be heard. It's like, that's it. It's letting their voice be heard. And, you know, that's what I'm about.
That is all that you're about, girlfriend. That is all that you're about.
I'm like, oh my God, I want to be with her. I want to be like her when I grow up, you know?
Right. So let's just talk about that a little bit, because I know we have a few more minutes left. And, you know, those of you who watched the show just now, who got a chance to listen to what she had to say, share with us what you thought. If you had any questions that we can ask her later on, she could be watching this and she will respond to you. Feel free to ask. I know we were talking about presentation, and that's something that's very important to me as well. Look, I have my days where I really don't put a lot of effort into presentation, and we all have those moments, especially when you're working and things are you know, a little discombobulated, and you get to that point where you finally say, you know what, I just don't care today. But in the end, messaging is very important. And I believe that one of the things that she said earlier had me thinking of I use different strategies to work with clients that have struggles on speaking, on presentation, on really, in the end, you don't have to be in a business to have really great presentation. It's just who you need to be. You're walking billboard every day, whether you're wearing sweats or you're wearing a suit or you're wearing a dress or whatever, you always want to be your best. You always want to speak in the best way that you can to get your message across really, really well, whatever the message is. So if you see yourself struggling in that, that's something that you want to talk to. I know myself, I'm someone that does that, the training on your communication, tactical communication. And when it comes down to someone like Dolly, boy, she can help you in terms of when you write it out, what you need to do. But in terms of presentation, when she mentioned that, you need to know your why, you need to know your purpose. It's going to take a while sometimes, the moment that you get to step out of the way your life had been, the way other people had maybe groomed you, the opportunities that you really didn't have before, or maybe you just didn't want to take it because you felt apprehensive. Practice at home. When you were a kid, you did this all the time. I bet you did, especially if you're an only child like me. You spend a lot of time looking in the mirror and talking to your hairbrush and pretending, or you're singing songs, or you're talking to your friends and pretending all day long. You still have the ability to imagine. You do have that power. It is a wonderful, fantastic power. If you're at home and no one's around, you can be in your room or wherever you want. Practice what it is that you want to say. Start drafting down what do you want to see happen for others? If you are someone who owns a business, what do you want to see happen for others? What are the pains? And if you do have those answers, instead of just kind of letting them kind of show up in your closet all over the place, put them in an organized fashion and start thinking about what are the points I want to make? And then start saying it, speaking it, and practice that. I did this. I'm telling you the truth. I put all my stuffed animals that I had on my bed. I did. All my stuffed animals on, and my cat, Bella, my little cat that I had. My stuffed animals. And I started to pretend that they were real people. And then I was practicing how to just kind of, what do I want to say? And some of the tips of looking above their head and things like that. But even though it seemed silly at first, no one's around. No one can see me. I'm not recording myself and putting it on some YouTube channel, which would be really funny now. But I took it very seriously. One day I'm going to have to talk to people and I have to share this information because I was in a job where I had to present and I needed to get myself together. I needed to be able to polish my words. So even doing something like that helped me. I did it over and over again. What is my mission statement? What do I want to say? What is the point I need to get across? Practice, practice, practice. But before you start practicing, know what you want to say and get that together. And if you need help, you can contact myself, you can contact Dolly, and we can work with you on that.
Yeah, I absolutely love what you just said. And you made me laugh because I'm thinking.
I always make you laugh.
Well, you always do. And I'm thinking, why do you have to stop as a child to use your hairbrush as a microphone?
I know. I still do. I mean, listen, I don't want everyone to know my business, but my family knows how wackadoo I am. And, I'm really non-apologetic about that. It's okay.
You need to be unapologetic. This is who you are. You're raw. Have fun with it. Life is too short. Even if you live to be 100, I do believe that life is too short. And I love to have fun. I love life. I love everything about life. And I just think that we could have so many adventures. I mean, I always talk about even speaking to Anita, it's an adventure, It's really about having fun and joy. And I mean, I'll tell you this, and going back to this thing about the microphone, I have been speaking for years. Okay. I probably got the opportunity to get in front of the microphone because I actually did sales in the past. So I would do meetings and I would have, be in front of a group of 15, 20 people, designers, whatever it may have been, depending on which company I was with at the time. And I tell you, I just enjoyed it. And then as time went on, like she said, then you don't want to give the mic away. As time went on, I felt that my audience kept growing and growing and growing. And I've been in a room where I've been with 3 people, and I've been in the room where I've been with over a couple thousand people. And it's been so magical to be able to share your message, to be in your element. And for me, I absolutely love it. I feel like I'm on top of the world, especially when I know that I'm energizing the room. And then of course now with my writing, right? I teach authors or individuals that want to become authors. I teach them to write to heal. You mentioned the why. Sometimes we don't know the why. We don't. Sometimes I have to dig deep. Okay, why is this important? Well, I want to do this, but why do you want to do this? Well, because I want to make $1 million. That really your why? Or is it because of this? Well, that really matters more. So it's about digging and digging and digging and figuring.
You're right. You actually, let me stop you there. Actually, I hope people heard what you said with that. And I want to repeat it again, that, you're actually, when you first think that you discover your why, it's a really good thing. And I think if I could just come up with a percentage, it might be like 1% actually hit it right on the nail. And that's what they go with. The rest of us, we keep crafting our why as we go. So what I thought was my why before, as I start taking those steps in that direction, you're going to start polishing what that why really is. You're going to narrow it down. You're going to get more and more, it's almost like crafting or the, I don't want to say pressure, but you're working towards making that turn into the kind of gem that it really is. So your why just keeps getting better and better and better. So your words become better and your purpose becomes better. So, you don't want to stop. Like right now, if you're like, I don't know my why. All right, well then start the process of knowing what that is. And even if you aren't quite sure, you have an idea of it, that's still better than having nothing that you really can, focus on. So start with that and then work towards, curtailing, crafting, looking at the details that she's talking about and writing it out is going to be great. I know that Dolly will have some prompts for you, some suggestions. And of course, myself, I'm all about strategy. So I'd love to find ways to get you to start thinking about what it is you really want. I found it funny when Mirela, I can't say her name, Mirela. You have to have the in there. When she was talking about, when women are trying to speak, that the more they know, the better it gets. The more they know, the better it gets. And that's what I think you want to spend your time. Don't feel so afraid. Be brave enough to start the process. That one step is really important, but then you want to keep taking that next step and that next step. So I think getting involved with the Global Women's Group sounds like a really great option for you. If you have never done anything like that, obviously Dolly speaks very, very well about it. You have the two of us here available to you to get at least, get your little pinky toe.
Get it a little wet. Get it a little wet. Well, Anita, as always, it's a pleasure and honor to host this show with you. You are amazing. It is Wonder Woman Wednesday. And everyone, we have to say goodbye for today, but we will see you again next week.
Yes, we will see you again next week. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.